Hi, everyone. How are you? Welcome to today's news briefing hosted by Los Angeles County as part of its COVID-19 Ethnic Media Communications Initiative. I'm Pilar Marrero, Associate Editor of Ethnic Media Services. This is the fourth of 7 briefings the county is hosting to identify urgent problems related to the pandemic and what the county is doing to help people deal with them. The first 3 briefings focused on LA County's programs to address hate, food insecurity, healthcare, and housing issues. Today, our focus is on small businesses and the resources and services the county is providing to help both the employers and the employees in this very hard-hit sector through the pandemic. The county is looking to us, the ethnic media sector and reporters, to inform our audiences that these resources exist and how they can access them. We deeply appreciate your coverage of today's briefing. We are pleased to introduce 4 speakers on the front lines of small business recovery. Carl Kemp with the Department of Public Health, who will speak about the county's Safety Compliance Certificate Program for small businesses. Ernesto Bobadilla with the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, who will speak about the county's Disaster Help Center for small businesses. Sarah Fisher with Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services, known as WIDAX, who will give a PowerPoint on the county's Safer at Work campaign for small businesses. And last but not least, Alissa Schudovsky, who manages economic justice and community partnerships for the nonprofit Betsy Legal Services Agency and works with the county to extend legal representation and education to small businesses. Please enter your questions for these presenters in the chat box, and we will devote 4 to 5 minutes following each speaker to Q&A from the media. We will send the video of today's briefing to all attendees later this afternoon, along with the who's who of each speaker and their contact information and additional collateral information. So now let's go right into it. Our first speaker is Carl Kemp, Manager of Environmental Health Public Affairs for the Department of Public Health. Please go ahead, Mr. Kemp.
Am I unmuted?
No, you are fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, Pilar, and for moderating this important conversation. We know these are difficult times for businesses as we continue to do our part to mitigate the impacts of this devastating and unprecedented pandemic. Our hearts go out to everyone suffering economic losses related to COVID-19 right now, but most especially to those who have lost loved ones in this deadly virus. With the current surge in cases, now more than ever, it's critical that we follow the protocols of the health officer order. The most recent orders can be found on our website at publichealth.lacounty.gov, along with a lot of other useful resources and information for businesses and individuals. As many of you know, the Southern California region, including LA County, is currently under the state's Safe at Home order. As a reminder, the following sectors are closed under this order: card rooms, wineries and breweries and distilleries, museums, botanical gardens, zoos and aquariums, personal care, including hair salons, barbershops, and nail salons, and family entertainment centers. And the following activities are permitted with safety modifications, including required wearing of face coverings and required distancing of at least 6 feet. Standalone grocery stores are now able to operate at 35% occupancy. Retail stores and shopping centers are able to open at 20% maximum occupancy. Restaurants for takeout and delivery only, and this will go through at least December 27th under the state's order. Parks and trails are open, outdoor gyms are open, as are playgrounds and childcare. These all remain open. Again, everyone is adhering to masking and distancing requirements. All government and critical infrastructure sectors are open, as well as all healthcare facilities and services operating under strict infection control requirements. These facilities are open and able to care for you and your customers, so please seek out assistance and medical care when you need it. With that as background, public health continues to encourage businesses in all sectors to participate in our not so new, but sort of new COVID safety compliance program, which is also known as the Csccp. This online training course, available in over 13 threshold languages, is designed to ensure that both employers and employees know the essentials of the county health officer orders and what they mean to the businesses and how they need to and how they can be in alignment with those protocols. To earn a certificate, participants simply need to watch a 37-minute video that outlines the required protocols for all sectors and then complete a brief survey at the end of the training. The training course offers an in-depth overview of the 5 key areas of all sector protocols and then directs participants to sector-specific guidance. Workplace policies and practices to protect the health of employees and customers, measures to ensure physical distancing at the worksite, measures to ensure infection control within the worksite, communication with both employees and the public, and measures to ensure equitable access to critical services. The training, while not mandatory, offers businesses, employees, and customers alike the added reassurance that essential training has been completed in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The Csccp program is voluntary. Businesses that opt out of participating will be required to instead display the DPH COVID-19 protocols for their sectors, which can be multiple pages long and can take up quite a bit of real estate on your storefront. The certificate is 1 page, very attractive, well designed, and gives quick assurance, sort of like a restaurant grade, that your business is in compliance and understands the protocols to keep customers and employees safe. To date, 14,673 businesses have completed the training. We encourage all businesses, regardless of sector, to take advantage of this training. And it's important that each of us take this action to keep our customers and employees safer. In closing, the safest thing we can do during this very difficult time in the pandemic is to stay home as much as possible and to interact only with members of our own households. However, for most families and businesses, it's not possible for all the members to stay only within their household bubble at this time. Many of us, and again, thank you to all of the essential workers, still must go to work. Some of our children are at school, and we all need to access essential services from time to time. Some of you are essential services. Every time we leave our homes, however, and are around other people, we are exposed to COVID-19. The more frequent and varied places we travel, the more exposures we have. And when each person in our household returns home, they each bring with them the risk associated with their encounters. When there are tens of thousands of infected people out and about each day, there is a significant increase in the probability that among the many encounters each individual has during the day, that one or more of these will now be a person infected with the virus. Minimizing the number of encounters is the first strategy for lowering your risk, and this means you should leave your house only for the most essential activities. When we do leave our homes, there are also steps that we can take to minimize the risk. Again, wear face coverings at all times, and we need to keep a distance of at least 6 feet from others and wash our hands frequently and stay home if we're sick. So when we're at the store, a park, or going to work, these remain the essential strategies. We have to combat this virus and to keep one another safe. This is the most dangerous time for Los Angeles County, and we are asking everyone to please be extremely careful and diligent in protecting yourself and everyone else. There's a great deal of community transmission, and we are all at risk of becoming infected when we are out of our homes and around other people. So please use every tool at your disposal so we can all be as safe as possible. And again, we encourage you to check our website, publichealth.lacounty.gov, for the most recent updates to the training program and our protocols. And with that, I thank you and look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kemp. I have a question, and this is something I've experienced personally, and people have also told me about. We know that many businesses are responsible and are doing the right thing, but occasionally you find some businesses where they don't seem to be following the safety precautions. I just visited a mechanic a couple of days ago, and essentially my car was in trouble, so I had to stop at that shop, and nobody there was wearing a mask. Nobody there was keeping the distance. The guy was like speaking all over me, and I was like, please stay away. How do you encourage people like that in businesses like that, eh, to do the right thing, and conversely, I mean, is there a way to punish them if they don't? And I know you are the public health department, but maybe you have an answer.
No, it's a great question, and I appreciate it. And I'm sure it's a question many others have as individuals and as businesses. Um, Number one, we are all part of a community, and to the extent that we can, diplomatically encourage our fellow residents and community members to do their part. We should, but we have to do it safely, and that's not always something everybody is comfortable doing. And it's not everybody's job, but it is our job. And so we do encourage folks, if they are at a business and that business is not compliant with the protocols, especially the basic protocols like physical distancing or occupancy or wearing face coverings, to definitely give us a call. You can call us anonymously and register your complaint. Our telephone number is 888-700-9995. Again, the number is 888-700-9995. You can also submit an online complaint. If you go to our public health website and go to the environmental affairs section, you'll be able to submit an online complaint. And again, those are anonymous as well. We encourage members of the public as well as employees who may work at a place where they feel like they aren't being adequately protected, perhaps because their employer hasn't taken the COVID safety compliance program, certificate training program, and they don't know what they should be doing, to let us know. So you can let us know anonymously without fear of retribution. Again, the goal is not to punish, but the goal is to protect. And the best way that we can do that is by being informed. When we are informed, one of our inspectors will go out and follow up on that complaint. If a violation is identified, we will notify the business that they are in violation. Most often we give them an opportunity to correct that violation before revisiting. And if upon revisitation, they have not complied with the protocols, and then our enforcement process begins, all the way up to suspension of a business license, but at a minimum, a $500 to $1,000 fine.
Great. And I want to point out that we added the number there in the chat for the complaint line. You said the online complaint can be filed in what website? The public health website? And
if you go to our public health website and scroll down to environmental health,
okay,
there's a section on the front page where you can find our online complaint form. And again, those can be totally anonymous.
Okay. Going back to the certificates you were mentioning, tell us a little bit, is there anything, what message do you want our media partners to get through people? Like they should, if they have a small business, why should they get this certificate?
Sure. And we understand that, with the escalation in cases, certain sectors that may have been open a week ago are currently not operational. But we still want folks to go out and take the training, which is available right on the front page of our public health website, because as the numbers begin to decline, we won't have a rapid shift to reopening, and they will still need to be able to encourage their customers and provide comfort to their customers that they are safely complying with our protocols, and their employees that they're aware. Employees can also take the survey. So, for example, if an employee wants to know what the protocols are and wants to ensure that they and their coworkers are being provided the safest work environment possible. They can take the training as well, and then they will know what is reportable. And again, those reports can come to us anonymously. So the biggest thing for our media partners, and let me pause and say we are, so grateful for the powerful tool that the media has been for getting these messages out there. We understand that enforcement is difficult, and there are varying messages related to enforcement, but education is one of the biggest things we can do to keep each other safe. And there's really no greater tool than our media outlets, especially in a lot of our hard to reach marketplaces with language barriers. They rely on these media outlets, and we want to thank you so much for getting our message out there to keep people safe. That's the biggest thing we would ask from our media partners, is to direct folks to take our COVID safety compliance certification program and encourage those businesses to get that certificate, put it in their window, and be informed about what the latest protocols are to keep their employees and their customers safe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Kemp. I think we're going to move ahead to the second speaker for now. And that is Ernesto Avarilla, Consumer and Business Affairs Specialist for the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. Mr. Avarilla, welcome.
Good morning, Pilar. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on today. There's a lot of valuable information. We definitely want to get it out to the community, the business community who's been impacted, and definitely the workers. Today, I want to talk about 2 or 3 different major resources that are available for businesses, one being the LA County Disaster Help Center. In response to the COVID-19, LA County realized it was going to have a major impact on businesses and employees, and on March 26th, pushed to create this Disaster Help Center in partnership with the LA County Development Authority and Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services. Once we launched back in March, we've been around since then providing assistance to businesses, business owners, nonprofits, workers, commercial landlords, and commercial tenants to navigate the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic crisis. The center operates daily, Monday through Friday, to answer any COVID-19 calls from LA County residents in the following areas. And since it's launched, it's actually helped. We've received 33,000 calls and over 2,300 emails in multiple languages, with English, Spanish, and Korean being the most popular. With the top areas or reasons why we're getting calls from businesses, they tend to be around funding sources. As you know, many businesses have been impacted, have lost their revenue, has dropped from either the closures because they were non-essential early on, or now that they've opened up, still there is a lurcher. People aren't going out visiting businesses as they were before, so it's definitely impacted their revenue. We also get a lot of calls around eviction and the rent moratorium, where they're not sure how it impacts or protects commercial businesses. Also on the reopening protocols, which Kemp was talking about, on how to open and operate safely, what are the requirements, what are they supposed to do to ensure they are in compliance, and most importantly, keeping not just the staff, but the customers safe. We get calls regarding rent assistance. There's a variety of programs to provide rental assistance to businesses, and so we've gotten calls, and just general technical assistance. So we've been a catch-all 800 number where even if we don't provide the direct service, we will direct all callers to the right entity, agency, to make sure they are assisted and helped. For example, we had a business that had been heavily impacted early on because of the safer at home order and the closures, and making sure that we stayed home. The business provided specialty cakes in East LA. Well, because everybody was staying home, you were no longer allowed to congregate with people from other households or have large events. Nobody was ordering birthday cakes or doing any type of celebration. So they were on the verge of actually completely closing down their business since they didn't know what to do. They reached out to us. We were able to help them apply and get a grant that the county was providing for $5,000 And one of our key partners, Inclusive Action for the City, was able to also assist them in helping pivot their business from being a specialty cake business to now providing general bread by buying the right equipment, the right inventory, so that they could provide bread and other foods to the community and work more on the retail versus specialty cakes, which would allow to bring in revenue. So again, businesses with any questions, any doubts, what to do, how to do it, what's available, give us a call. There are various grants that are coming up in the near future. And so we definitely can provide that information and assistance. To reach the Disaster Help Center, you can call 833-238-4450. Once again, 833-238-4450, or send us an email at disasterhelpcenter@lacounty.gov. In addition to the Disaster Help Center and the assistance that we provide, recently we came together between private and public organizations to provide free and affordable PPE to help businesses jumpstart their transition to recovery and avoid the costly marketplace by keeping their employees and customers safe. So PPE Unite is a testament to the power of collaborative effort, as I mentioned a second ago, between public and private. And we are in the process through PPE Unite providing up to 30 days free supply for all employees of PPE equipment. And definitely strongly recommend for businesses to reach out. The website is www.ppeunite.org. And by going to the website, they're able to create an account, schedule a day to pick up the equipment, and then they just drive in and apply for, just drive up and pick up the equipment. They practice the safety, the social distancing. When you go pick up, you stay in the vehicle and they will load it for you. And again, it's 30 days supply of PPE, from face shields to masks to gloves, sanitizers, the whole kit and caboodle. So definitely we want businesses to take advantage of this free supply because it is costly, and with revenues being down, it's one less cost savings we are providing them. Lastly, as businesses are looking to see how to survive or come ahead, the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs has 3 sections under the Office of Small Business that provide great resources. One is the Concierge Unit. Under the Concierge Unit, we are able to assist businesses and counsel them for those who are looking to not just start a business, but expand and grow, trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, whether it's changing their way from their marketing, pivoting to a different type of sale, or transforming their business from a brick and mortar to online. They can reach out to us. We'll give them guidance and connect them with the resources and the know-how so they can do this. We also have the PTAC Center, which stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Many businesses may not be aware, understand that the county or government buys everything from services to products. Anything and everything, they contract it out. So we want to make sure businesses understand there may be an alternate or other form of income, which is government contracting. By reaching our PTAC Center, they'll be able to schedule a counseling appointment and be guided on how to become a government contractor, what's required, what are the websites, whether it's a federal, state, or local agencies, what type of products are sold, and get them on their way to hopefully be a government contractor. We have had several businesses reach out and thank us that because they've lost a lot of revenue in the private sector, they've been able to offset their revenue with government contracts. Though small, it's kept them afloat. So very important. So to reach our department, you can definitely call 323-881-3964. Once again, 323-881-3964. And again, everyone, thank you so much for having me here. I greatly appreciate it.
Wonderful, Mr. Bobadilla. Thank you so much for all of that information. I don't think many people out there knows how much the county has available to help businesses. It's pretty amazing. But we have a question, a very interesting question from Araceli Martinez. And Araceli, I want you to ask the question.
Hello, thank you, Pilar. Mr. Bobadilla, I just spoke to a couple of Latinas who are owners of 2 barber shops in LA County. We receive a loan from the county for the 30,000, and they have already received the bill asking them to start paying. And how is the county asking them to already pay when they just order them to shut down again? So what are the options for these kind of businesses that are really suffering, accumulating debt? And by the way, they told me that they had to hire a notary in order to apply for this loan because there were a lot of requirements that they didn't really understand. So they had to pay $1,000 to this notary in order to get this loan. So it's hard for them. And I would like to see what are the options for this kind of businesses.
Ms. Martinez, thank you very much for your question. First of all, the county was providing grants, and the loans the county was providing had a 12-month deferment, meaning businesses who apply for a county loan would not have to start paying for 12 months. So I'm not sure who the county may have provided them a variety of resources. There's a lot of organizations providing relief or low interest loans, whom we refer to because a business needs some type of funding. And if they're not able to qualify for a grant, then we usually recommend or have them look at or consider if a loan will help them in the long run to maintain their business up and running until things change, things open up, and they're able to start increasing their clientele and their revenue. So it's hard to, without knowing the specifics of who they applied with, I don't know what the terms of the loan were that they're being required to start paying back the loan. I know the loans that were also from the federal government, the Small Business Administration, those were 30-year loans that may have started sooner, but that would be through the federal government. So without knowing specifically with whom they applied, it's hard to be able to address the payment. Now, yes, right now businesses have been impacted severely with the closures or reduced occupancy, allowing the number of clients to visit their businesses. And again, in the personal care hair arena, they've been closed down for the next couple of weeks until there's a handle on the COVID-19 and the spread and the spike. So it's been definitely a very challenging time. I would recommend they reach out to the Disaster Help Center. We may be able to provide a little bit more guidance. There's also 2 big grants that are coming up. I know Governor Newsom from the state of California just announced that they're getting ready to launch a grant that should be coming up in the next week or 2. Maybe if the businesses can reach out, we can direct them, alert them when that grant launches, and that may help offset the loan that is impacting. And again, those businesses impacted once again with the reclosing per state order.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And we're gonna have one more question, and I'm gonna summarize it, but because it's a little long, but this reporter says that since the beginning of the pandemic, women workers in salons and beauty parlors have been working under pressure from their businesses, from their managers, I imagine, or their owners, 6 days a week, 11 hours a day, and in a very unsafe way. They are being paid cash. They're not given paychecks, and they're not really addressing safety. Which Los Angeles County body addresses the exploitation of these women workers who are forced to work unsafely, even during a lockdown?
The two recommendations I would make is, first off, yes, early on, and not as much now, but early on, the first couple months of the closures, we were getting a lot of the calls where employees weren't comfortable going back to work, similar to the women workers in the hair salons and in that industry. And what we were recommending is to reach out to the Department of Public Health to file a complaint or report to ensure that the business was looked into and enforce either the closure, which is if that was required, or follow the safety protocols. And because you can submit it anonymously, I know many employees were afraid of complaining because they didn't want to lose their job, but they wanted to be able to work safely. The second recommendation would be the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs has a unit specifically under wage enforcement, and they can definitely assist to ensure that wages paid were paid properly to these employees, to these staff, and many may be even contract employees. If there's a wage and hours, especially now under the, is it AB 5, the new, whether it's contract or employee, based on the requirements of an employer or a contract employer, wage enforcement would be able to sit down with the employee, talk to them, provide guidance, and reach out to the employer to ensure that wages were properly paid, handled, and they weren't exploited. So those would be the two resources to assist these employees that were heavily impacted and put under these conditions to work.
Thank you, Mr. Bobadilla. Before moving on to the new speaker, to the third speaker, Mark is asking, what are the, can you repeat again the two grant programs that are coming up?
Yes, sorry. So one grant program is through the state of California. The website is business.ca.gov, and that's through the state of California. They should be rolling it out in the next 2-3 weeks. Governor Newsom announced it last week. And the county, to assist restaurants who were recently reclosed, in about 2 weeks should be rolling out a grant program, about $5 million worth. We're in the process of figuring out how we're going to accept applications, what the process will be, how the awards will be done. So we hope to have that up and running in the next, maybe at the end of the year, beginning of January. So businesses are recommended just to call the Disaster Help Center, even if they want to call us once a week, to find out, are there any new grants, any new loans, and we can definitely provide them updated information of what's new, what's available, since things are coming up very regularly. Hopefully that answered the question.
I'm sorry, yes, very well. Thank you so much. And we're gonna move on. Thank you so much, Mr. Bobadilla. We're gonna move to our third speaker, and that is Sarah Fisher, Human Services Administrator for the Department of Workforce Development. That's a mouthful. Aging and Community Services. Sarah, hi.
Hello, and thank you for having me. As Pilar said, my name is Sarah Fisher from the Department of Workforce Development, and thank you so much for having me today to present on the Safer at Work Los Angeles campaign. This campaign is really designed to build a sense of shared responsibility between businesses, employees, consumers, and their communities, and really emphasize what we can do to keep each other safe and to start restoring our local economy. So this is a 360 creative campaign that really emphasizes our love of our community and the strength of the different communities in Los Angeles. And so one of the key aspects of the campaign is our website, where we have essentially a hub of tools for COVID safety communications for the business community, including posters and social media graphics. We're also working with a large network of over 50 cities and different chambers of commerce, as well as business partners and social media influencers to really spread the message across the county. And so we appreciate any support from the ethnic media as well, to make sure the messaging really penetrates those hard to reach communities throughout the county. as well as several public art and outdoor creative interventions. By the end of next week, we will have a mural up in East Los Angeles, as well as posters throughout the city, chalk art, and other interventions to have this campaign visible throughout the county. As I mentioned earlier, this campaign really targets 3 different audiences, one of them being businesses and employers. So providing them with the information they need in order to create a safe work environment for anybody coming on site. So for both employees and customers, and helping them understand the changing and different regulations, as well as messaging for employees. Business owners can only do so much. They also need their employees to take part in order to create a safe work environment for themselves and for the customers. And then again, the customers have an important role to play in ensuring that businesses and their employees stay safe. So really the interdependence of the 3 audiences is what caused us to target all 3 groups with this campaign. So we know there's a lot of different publications out and about different regulations and how to stay safe during COVID, but we really wanted this campaign to not feel governmental, to really embrace the local art and the hand lettered sign painting tradition here in Los Angeles. So this is just a little preview of the inspiration for the campaign, really bright and colorful. And here is some of the creative posters that we have for this campaign. So really emphasizing, Angelinos have to protect one another. Doing basic things like cleaning hands can help keep LA safe. And then for businesses, every single detail counts in ensuring that the business stays safe. So these are some examples of posters that businesses can download and print, and community members as well, just to get the message out and have bright, fun reminders of what each person can do to make LA safer. These are a few examples of social media assets that, again, businesses can use, reminding people that, essential workers are not just healthcare workers who we love and appreciate, but also cashiers, also delivery drivers are out on the front lines every day, and we need to protect them as well. We also have messaging around supporting small businesses, not only shopping locally, but you need to do it safely to ensure that these small businesses can remain open. So we know that from the public health data, one of the hardest hit communities in Los Angeles is the Spanish-speaking Latino community. They make up a large proportion of essential workers. And so almost all of our messaging is also available in Spanish. But we know that there's a lot of other language communities in Los Angeles, and that different ethnic groups have different access to information about the pandemic. So the resources are also available regarding essential workers in Armenian, as well as Mandarin Chinese, Korean, and Tagalog. So all of these resources are available in the different languages on our website, which is saferatwork.la. We've also launched social media channels for this campaign on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So we're going to be posting the campaign resources over the coming weeks, and feel free to share and follow and join in the conversation using hashtag #SaferAtWorkLA. It's an opportunity for small businesses to show what they're doing to keep their community safe. As I said, we have a full website, Safer at Work LA. As you can see, the menu is divided up between businesses, employees, and residents. So we've organized the resources depending on their type. There's also industry-specific resources. We have resources related to restaurants and salons, and we're working on manufacturing and other sectors that we know that have been hard hit by pandemic outbreaks. I know Ernesto already mentioned this, but one of the resources we have on the Safe at Work LA website is information about the PPE Unite program. This again is a free 30-day supply of PPE for LA County businesses that have 1 to 100 employees. So at ppeunite.org, any small business can sign up, tell us how many employees they have, and arrange a pickup of 30 days of free personal protective equipment for their employees. On the website as well, we have an option for businesses in different communities to customize our logo. So Los Angeles, we know, is a really big region and includes a lot of different communities. So through the website, you can customize our logo to either say a neighborhood, a city, or even the name of a business. And again, thank you for the opportunity to present. We really want to emphasize that working together, we can keep Angelenos safer at work. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Sarah. That graphic design is fantastic. It really doesn't feel like a government poster. It feels very, very nice. I have a question. With the vaccination campaign coming up, are you guys planning to extend your work to that, to educate and inform about that part of the pandemic that is so critical?
So we do plan to pivot the campaign to adapt to changing conditions. As we all know, this pandemic has been very unpredictable. We know the vaccine is coming. We don't know exactly what that rollout is going to look like, but we do plan to continue to provide resources to businesses and to the community at large that will help them understand what's going on and how they can stay safe. So we already adjusted the campaign that we started back when we were under Safer at Work. And now since we're safer at home, we really pivoted the messaging to essential workers and businesses that are allowed to remain open. So we know it's going to take several months to get the vaccine, and we're going to continue to support businesses throughout.
Okay. So do you have these posters somewhere else, like, for example, public transportation or some public areas of the county?
We don't have advertisements on public transportation, but we are rolling out the art interventions that I mentioned. So by the end of next week, we're going to have a mural in East LA in Boyle Heights on Cesar Chavez Boulevard. We have already put out wheat tastings, which are essentially posters in large groups that we already have started putting up in downtown Los Angeles, East LA, South LA. And we are going to be having a kind of sandwich board campaign as well in business quarters, one for sure in the San Fernando Valley. And yeah, we continue to build out different ways to kind of get the message in front of the public. So
that's great. That's my neighborhood. I live in Boyle Heights.
Awesome.
So it's pretty cool. So what is in the mural? What kind of information is there?
So it's going to be similar to the graphics that you just saw. It's like the very colorful, language that really pops and gets people's attention. So
great. Okay. Thank you very much. And just we'll point out again that there's some information being placed in the chat, like, for example, the website for these posters. And also Mr. Kemp has placed a link to the public health vaccine program. And so you can visit that website if you want more information. There's a lot of information in those websites. So we're going to move on to our fourth speaker, and that is Alissa Schudovsky, Economic Justice and Community Partnerships for Betsy Legal Services Agency. Hello, Alissa. You have to unmute.
I am unmuted.
There you go.
Thank you, Pilar. Yes, my name is Alissa Schudovsky, and I am the Director of Pro Bono Programs for Betsy Legal Services. Thank you very much for inviting us to come to this briefing during this incredibly challenging moment in time for all the communities that we serve and we care about. And it's great to be here with many of our partner organizations and others. We actually are privileged to have an incredibly robust partnership with the DCBA, under which we have been delivering 2 webinars a month on topics of legal interest for small business owners And we also have a very active referral line going from DCBA folks to us for direct legal services. So really, really terrific to be here and to be talking to all of you. So for those of you who don't know about Betsedic's work, I'm going to give you a brief overview, as a lot of the issues that we've already discussed and the challenges that folks are facing are things that our larger agency addresses as well. And then I'll turn to small business work, which I know is the focus of this. So we're a nonprofit legal services agency. Our founding principle 46 years ago was pretty basic. It's to bring justice to the most vulnerable members of our community. And we do that regardless of any individual's race, religion, ethnicity, or immigration status. So it's undeniable that low-income communities and communities of color have historically and continually been disproportionately impacted in terms of denials of economic opportunities, housing, benefits, and more. As we've all been discussing, that's been painfully reinforced by the impact of COVID-19 on these communities. So the individuals that we reach out to educate about their rights and to provide free legal services for are predominantly from these communities and remain the focus of our outreach and our services. So again, basically we provide education, outreach, and direct legal services to individuals throughout LA County in a wide range of areas. To name a few, we represent low-income seniors who are victims of financial, physical, and emotional abuse, who need help with advanced planning, with adult conservatorships, with housing protection, with public benefits. Obviously, the issues facing this community have been exacerbated by COVID-19, and there's just a lot of activity trying to bring them relief. We have a really robust workers' rights projects to help ensure fair pay and safe conditions for low-wage workers. Again, a population of folks who are markedly impacted by the pandemic. We have a low-income tax clinic. We have an extraordinarily busy homelessness prevention and housing rights team, and an immigrant youth project that has the aim of helping these kids get on a path to legal residency and a safe and stable life. That's a few of our programs. All of our programs have pivoted over the last month, as has everybody here, I'm sure, to developing new ways to serve our clients and communities remotely and otherwise, and both in terms of their continuing legal needs and also with respect to addressing new challenges wrought by COVID-19. And I do want to say that we do have a general intake line if you want to direct folks who need help in any of those areas, and that's 323-939-0506. And obviously that's on our website as well, betsedic.org. So on to the Small Business Project, which is part of our economic justice umbrella. We launched this project about 4 years ago to help low to moderate income small business owners throughout LA County. The original and still philosophy was that if you help small businesses get set up and thrive, that provides a path to economic stability for individuals and their communities. But those of us in the legal community recognize that many enterprising folks who have small businesses don't have the resources to get needed legal services, which are often needed in order to grow and to thrive. So we reached out to traditionally underserved and marginalized communities to offer a couple of different types of services. One is legal education. So we partnered with the county, we partnered with the city, we partnered with all kinds of community and neighborhood organizations to bring workshops on legal issues that are of importance to small business owners. We used to do those things in person. We now do lots of webinars and are hoping someday to return to the in-person setting, though in many ways with webinars, we've been able to reach even larger audiences. So I guess if there's a silver lining to remote life, that's one of them. So obviously when COVID hit, these small businesses were reeling from the impact on their businesses, and we started getting a lot more calls and referrals from small businesses that just needed help in figuring out how to survive in this climate. And we are obviously very much conscious of the fact that that marginalized communities have been impacted in a really significant way. There have been studies that have been done over the last couple of months and continue to be watched that say among the businesses that have been shuttered, there's been about a 40% drop in Black-owned businesses, 32% drop in Latinx-owned businesses, also significant drops in immigrant-owned and female-owned businesses. So obviously we stepped up our efforts to do outreach to these communities and these small businesses to help them get up on their feet, stay on their feet, find the assistance that they need from the legal perspective. Again, we do that in two ways. One is bringing legal education on topics of interest, and it's been really helpful with our partners around the city have been periodically been surveying their small business communities and the folks that they deal with to see what the top issues are that they're trying to address. And it's been a pretty steady stream of similar issues. People want to know, how do you access COVID relief and how do you comply with the repayment terms or the forgiveness terms? Plenty of people wanted help renegotiating their commercial leases at a point where they were having no money coming in, and obviously issues paying their rent. So a lot of negotiating rent deferral payments and other lease issues. Plenty of questions about contract enforceability, about how to be a good employer and take care of employees during a time that people's businesses are closed. Questions about insurance issues, about entity formation. How do they make sure that they are protected legally in the context of what's going on? So lots of topics that we've been able to partner with DCBA and others on doing free legal webinars that are open to everyone, regardless of really where they are or what their business is about. And then we also make free legal services, the delivery of direct legal services, part of our really important mandate. And so folks who have questions specific to their businesses and need a lawyer can apply to us. We do have a financial eligibility standard for that has to be met. And we are only able in the context of this project to help for-profit businesses with this whole range of transactional services that I mentioned before. People just need to apply on our website, and I will put in the chat box the link to the portal for applying for free legal services. How do we deliver those services? There has been an incredible response from the LA private legal community, who from the very beginning of COVID and the building out of our small business program have offered pro bono services to help these small businesses in dealing with all the issues that I've been mentioning, from lease negotiations to entity formation to employment advice and the like. And so now I have this incredible bench of over 50 law firms of folks who are available to help. So the way the direct legal services work is that someone applies online. There's a brief application, tells us what their issues are, where they are. We make an eligibility determination at Betsy about whether they are financially eligible and whether the services they are requesting are something that we can help with. And then we do an intake with the applicants. And hopefully, once we confirm eligibility and issues, then I go out to my pro bono community and I match a lawyer with the expertise that's needed with the applicants and the clients so that they can get the legal help they need. It's been an incredibly busy time, and we continue to have a steady stream of applications, and are really happy to see that folks are finding us and applying for services. So again, just kind of briefly, webinars are available on a continuing basis. On our website, we keep a month-by-month calendar so that folks can find and register for the various webinars. DCBA obviously has a fantastic distribution network to let people know about those. And our communications folks put the flyers on social media, and we've been getting really pretty substantial and continuing attendance on all the different webinars. Free, available to everyone. And then again, for direct services, folks should feel free to apply online, and we will get in touch and figure out and hopefully be able to help them and set them up with a lawyer to help them out. So that's kind of my summary. Again, I'll put the website and application information in the chat box. And I welcome any questions, and thank you again for inviting us.
Thank you, Alissa. And yeah, I will direct your attention to the chat. There's a couple of new links there for you to register for the webinars, and again, for the Safety Compliance Certificate Program. A couple of questions, Alissa. One, do nonprofits qualify for your small business service?
So no, our small business program has a particular remit and a scope, and it's to help for-profit businesses. So for the most part, we cannot help nonprofits. But there are other resources around LA that we could refer folks to who do help nonprofit organizations. And again, that's just, that's on the small business side.
Okay. There's a question in the chat by Mark. He says, let's see if you can answer this. Can you, or if anyone can answer this, can you estimate how many individual cases are underway? It's not clear what he means by which cases. Perhaps a bit more about the ethnographic breakdown of struggling businesses. Maybe you or Ernesto can answer this question.
Well, I mean, we do, collect to the extent folks are willing to share demographics on businesses. And, what I had intended to do, and I forgot, and I'm going to use this opportunity, is just to give you an example of some of the cases that we have gotten folks help with, because we really are making a big effort to reach out to underrepresented communities. So for example, early on, we secured legal advice for an LGBTQ owner of an online tutoring business who needed advice on launching his business, entity formation, insurance coverage, employee safety and wages, and how to access COVID relief. We secured legal advice for a minority and immigrant-owned food business that wanted help renegotiating the terms of their commercial lease and to get a rent deferral agreement in place. We secured legal advice for a disabled business owner who was who was the owner of a new neighborhood hotspot, which has obviously been severely impacted. And also a female Asian owner of a dry cleaning business in Koreatown. They had both come to us for help with renegotiating their commercial lease, with insurance policy and claims questions, and questions about worker safety. So we really do cover a broad demographic. And just in terms of numbers, I can tell you that in the first 5 months of this program, we had doubled the number of applications that we had in all of last year. So that tells you, that people are obviously in extreme hardship and reaching out for help to Betsy, to DCBA, to all kinds of resources around the county.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. Okay, so we have 2 minutes left. I don't know, Sandy, if you want to say something.
I have a question for Ernesto Bobadilla, and that is
Good.
The programs all of you have outlined that LA County is providing seem so amazing, awesome. Is LA County, and I know you don't want to boast, but how much are you out in front on all of this? Are you setting the pace for other counties? Do you get inquiries from other counties about what you're doing to help small business?
Great question. Actually, with the Disaster Help Center, it's been, we received calls as far away as Florida and all the neighboring counties, because the neighboring counties have not had a centralized resource as the Disaster Help Center, which has helped many businesses, workers, and individuals get connected with the valuable resources. So the county definitely seeing that need and bringing not just our department, but the Department of Workforce Development, Aging Community Services, and the Development Authority together to definitely run the center and provide these resources. That definitely, we did the best we could with those reaching out to us, but yes, we definitely, the county did a great job seeing the need, establishing it, and having it available for all our constituents.
Thank you. And as long as we have you three people still on the call, I'd like to ask Ms. Fisher, do you have a favorite art piece? And who are the great artists you enlist?
That's so hard because I like them all, but I think my favorite has to be the ones with the bears. We have cute little California bears demonstrating how to and how not to wear a mask. And despite, being 9 months into this pandemic, I still every day see people wearing their masks incorrectly. So that's probably my favorite. And we are working with an agency called Task Force PR. So they've done the creative so far. I'm not sure if the name of the artist will be doing the mural, but I could share that later.
Well, I think we may want to send as collateral the Bears poster to everyone, and maybe they'll want to run it in their stories. And Alissa, what would you say is the most valuable legal service your agency is providing small business? It would give us sort of insight into what the needs are, the greatest needs.
Did you mean in terms of subject matters?
Yes.
For direct advice and education?
I would say subject matter.
Yeah.
It's how what you can tell us about how this incredibly battered sector is struggling to survive.
Yeah, the predominant issues have been shifting over the course of the pandemic, right? So the first month, people were all asking about how do they access relief and stay open, and then it very much shifted largely and still into the commercial leasing issue. People wanted to know and wanted help with negotiating with their landlords and wanted to know their rights in terms of how could they hold on to their commercial space at a time when they don't have any money coming in, or plenty of really creative business folks have been pivoting to online from brick and mortar. And so some of those folks wanted to know if there were ways they could negotiate out of their leases. So lots of activity. And then I would say the third major topic is the reopening regulation. And that has been, an absolute seesaw, right? Opening, closing, opening and closing. And so many folks have been asking for advice on how the new orders apply to their business and how they can comply.
Okay, thank you so much. Pilar, back to you. This was an extraordinary panel, and we're very grateful for your time. You're at the center of the storm, and you've given us very valuable information.
Well, we need to close. We're over time, but it's been very helpful. And thank you for trusting Ethnic Media with your message. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.